Hi, everybody. For this episode, we're joined by Tim Johnson from Washington State here in the United States. Tim started with humble beginnings, but through strong values and perseverance, he went on to complete college and is now the AmeriCorps program coordinator with Federal Way Public Schools. Tim, thanks for being a guest on the podcast.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and have this conversation.
Yeah, me too, Tim. Tim, you grew up in poverty. We talked a little bit about that as we're getting to know each other, and your family found itself homeless from time to time. Can you just talk about your early years and what all of that was like for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just growing up in a small town, Phoenix City, Alabama, and I just can so recall, being nomadic, man. We never really stayed in a particular one location, house, apartment, for no more than, I would say 3 to 4 years. We were just constantly moving. And majority of those moves were us being evicted. And so I can recall, coming home from school and seeing our stuff out in the yard or in the apartment complex where everybody parks in parking stalls, just in trash bags. I can recall our kind of first house that, the sheriff came by, man, and I was asleep and told us to grab our stuff. It's time to go, and so I can remember these guys coming in and just grabbing all of our stuff. I mean, mixing in kitchen appliances with clothes, with things from the living room, just whatever they could grab, fill the bags, throw them out. And so it was very traumatic, I would say, later on. And so I don't know, man, it's a story that I feel, it's kind of close to my heart in the sense that it set a lot of guidelines for me going through that. But also, my mom and my dad were just amazing throughout that, especially my mom. I really can recall those days where she was in spending time, man, praying and finding some way just to find another smile on her face, right? And just wouldn't look like the things that we were going through. And so I really grounded me, within my faith and just seeing her, right? And so from there, man, you talk about having fun, Paul, like just not realizing, right? I knew we had it bad, but I didn't know how bad we had it, right? And so just having fun with my family, man, and just being a small little country boy from a small little country place, being outside, running around, playing football, having fun with friends. It was the worst of times and the best of times, man.
Yeah, I can hear that. And, as young people, we often don't realize the impact of what we're going through because it just seems normal and it seems typical because you don't know anything else. But you talk fondly of your parents. What are your mom and dad like? And how did they help you through all that? Or what did they tell you when you were getting evicted? How did all that go?
Yeah, man. What I learned in that is work ethic from my father, right? Regardless of the situations, he would get up and go to work. And they were pretty it could be very depressing at times, right? Going to the house and just that sad mode, but he was always, I gotta pick up and go, right? So just learning that and that work ethic, and then also just from my mom of, no matter how bad it gets, right? We still have empowerment and control in the sense of us, and so I really learned from her, just not labeling myself by my situation. But just because I am experiencing poverty, that does not mean that I have to go and divert to situations or make decisions that are going to permanently have a lot of consequences, right? There was so many times, Paul, that I was attracted to money, right? And just so I could get us out of this situation and get myself out. And those options at that time were, I would say, were not the best of
Yeah.
decisions, right?
Yeah.
And so I learned, man, from her, just watching her, like, okay, I can't justify my position to then devalue somebody else's life, right, for my come up or my gain, for my family. And so there was a real moral foundation that, I really gained from my mom and watching her in that.
That's what I've learned about you. You have such a strong footing on your moral kind of, I don't know how to even describe it, kind of a moral footing that you've got staked down about all the decisions you make and all the things you do are based on your morals. When you were younger and you were tempted to try to get money, and I'm sure you had the opportunity to do things that maybe weren't the best decisions for you or other people, did you get into trouble, or were you able to stay out of trouble because you had those strong moral values?
Yeah, I was able to stay out. Those were the decisions. That was why I did not, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I knew that, that's not who she's raising me to be. That's not the man that my father is gearing me to be. And so, even though it was a tragic fall, it was a lot, right? But it was I end of the day, I said no, and that kept me out. That kept me out of a lot of trouble. And so I doubled down in football, man. I remember, being in my middle school. I can remember it's just like it happened yesterday. We was doing an assignment, and we had just got evicted, got kicked out, and so we were living with my auntie. And I remember drawing and writing goals on my notepad. I'm going to make it to the NFL, and we're not going to have to lose our lights, right? We're going to have cars that work, and the gas is always going to be full with the oil change, right? And I'm never going to have to eat canned meat again, and we're going to, make sure that my mom has clothes, because she always recycled her clothes. Make sure my dad has what he needs, all these things, man, and my brothers and my sister. And so I remember just crying right at my desk doing math, right, with just tear ducts or teardrops just hitting my paper and saying, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I doubled down. And so my morals and athletics, when I got laser focused, right, that was it, man. I didn't have time to play around or do any extracurricular activities that my peers were getting into at the time. I was like, no, man, I'm an athlete, or, morally, this is my faith, I'm not doing that. So it did. It kept me out of a lot of things.
That's great. So your family just sounds like wonderful people. Yep. So here they are. Your dad's working hard. Mm-hmm. You guys are church-going people, grounded in faith, and you're having these awful things kind of happen to you on a repeated basis. But it seems like, at least you, I can't speak for your parents, but I got to believe it's probably true. You're not a bitter person. You're not an angry person. You're a hopeful person. You're a person that wants to give back. Is that because of your faith or because of your parents, or is it just a personality trait? How did you come out of that with just this incredibly gifted ability to want to just make the world a better place?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of all of that, man. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, there were times where, I'm grounded in my faith and learning, it's not about me, right? And that, it's the hope and the possibility of things could change, right? Things could be different. And a lot of that was coming from my mom and my dad, and work ethic. I mean, they did not stop, Paul. As an adult now, I really do appreciate that value. And having kids, man, I got kids, right? And so it's like, man, how the heck did they do that, right? And so, absolutely. I think it's a combination of all of those, man. I knew that deep down, a lot of people could easily label, and I could easily do things, but I was like, I'm not this situation. This is a situation, and this doesn't have to define me. So there's a lot of influences there for me.
Amazing story, and the resilience and the perseverance that you have shown and your family has shown is just remarkable. And on a side note, it's just so sad that we have a society set up where people can bust their butts trying to raise their family and still not have enough money to make rent and end up getting kicked out and having the sheriff throw your stuff out in the parking lot. Something is just fundamentally wrong with that.
Yeah.
But you're talking about your legacy. You didn't say legacy, but you're saying that's not who I am. That's not how I want to do. So, and your legacy is important to you. And how would you describe what you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be that one of having impact, man. I really am in that in the sense of I've done something to help somebody along their journey, whether it be just me accepting them, acknowledging them, supporting them. I want that, man. I really find that in our society, or it feels like it's very money and focus driven, right? And to me, whether you have money or do not, there's a deeper God, right? There's a deeper foundation there. Whether you categorize the success, however it is for you. So for me, that impact, it goes down to just that moral foundation, man. And I want to have impact, man. I had impact as a kid going in poverty. I still helped my friends, right? Even though I was coming to school and same clothes the same week, and borrowing shoes. I remember borrowing cleats, finding cleats in the trash can because I know we couldn't afford them. And I would wear them and just smash my toes, right? Like I was a wide receiver. So, anybody that understands that, man, route running and shoes that are a foot just is painful, right? Mm. So, but even through all of that, man, I still remember, I didn't steal, right? I couldn't take some from somebody else. I would still support and help people, and I was impactful. Like I was helping my friends, I was helping other people in the community, even though I didn't have, right? And so, and putting people onto different opportunities, jobs, and all kinds of different things. And so I said, man, if I could do that without money, then as I get money, absolutely, right? And that's it, man. I really want that to be, man. I made impact, right? I changed the world, or at least one person at a time, somehow, some way.
Sounds like you already are building a legacy just in the work you're doing, the work you were doing as a young person. The example that you set for everybody else is certainly establishing a legacy of humility, caring, mm-hmm. and just a passion to help other people. You're a remarkable person, Tim. When you first got into youth work, did you know right away, like, this was going to be something for you, or how did you get into youth work in the first place?
Gosh. Yeah, great. No, I had no clue, man. Uh-huh. So my friend, I just graduated from college. I was a first generation college student. So man, just all kinds of bumps and bruises along the way. But I just finished my graduation, and my friend, who was also a guy that I played football with, at Troy University, he told me about this job out in this group home, right? And so I wasn't even familiar with group home, right? What is that?
Right.
What do you mean, right? So he's like, oh yeah, it's this thing, man, out here in the middle of the woods where they have all these these kids, and you just watch them, right? And I was like, okay. He's like, yo, it pays pretty good. It was a job that paid every week. I paid about $700-800, and so my rent at the time was $225, right? So I was like, oh yeah, okay, that sounds good to me. So I put in the application and went down there, and oh my gosh, man, I just fell in love with it. It was one of those experiences that really had an impact on me, and the reason why was that every single young man that I was serving, I was like, man, the things that y'all did, I did those exact same things, right? Like, the only difference is, like, man, you guys got caught, and I didn't, right? So even though I had that moral guideline and things, man, I wasn't perfect. I wasn't perfect in it, man. So I was really captivated by that and just wanted to help them. And that was the kind of like, let me look into this. And right, especially when I started seeing that had impact, man, that we had kids who were 10 years old who were just full-blown alcoholics. We had 15, 16-year-olds with children, and they're asking me about being married and having a girl and being a dad. I'm like, well, I'm not a dad. I can't speak into that, but what I saw, man, was just these young men who were starving and wanted direction, a little knuckleheads at the same time, right? Not perfect, but I don't know. It was something that I saw impact and that I was having impact. And it was like, that was kind of like this is a career? This is a thing, right? Let me continue this and go a little bit further. It was awesome.
That's a cool story. And it's a great way to leave a legacy. So yeah, you're doing it. Yeah. Tim, we have to take a short break, but when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about your relationship with young people. So we'll be right back. Tim, right before the break, you were telling us about your adventure into youth work and how you found it just a passion for it right away. I got to believe your story and your experiences as a young person, living in poverty, moving around from place to place. Sadly, that story isn't that unique in our world today. Matter of fact, it's kind of common, especially for people of color and people in the South and, a variety of places. So I bet you have just a unique way of connecting with young people because you know what they're going through, a lot of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I can empathize, man. I think it's, in the, excuse me, I'm trying not to cough. In the, where I'm at, the state that I'm in now, right, in Washington, it's completely different from the South, right? Similarities, right, but also just major differences. And one of those, to me, is just where I am now, man, is the uniqueness of the youth here. They are so open, right, and relationship based. Whereas I felt like as adolescents, it was a little, you had to put in a little bit more work, right, to gain that trust. And so I really do. I do think it's a unique space here. The kids are awesome. The community is amazing, and I think if you have that willingness to just get past some of those barriers, man, of which absolutely should be there, right? We're adults working with kids, and they don't know us. We got to gain that trust. But I do find, persistence, and being willing to jump into their world. I dive head first into their world and let them teach me, and expand my horizon. So, I do. I love it. It's amazing. And the challenging every day is completely different. Yeah.
Yeah. What does success in youth work look like to you, Tim? How do you know you've done a good job?
I look at the young person that's in front of me, man. If I can recall this young man I was working with, and he was just resistant, right? And I was the person that was over the Miracle program at that time, the whole singer. She taught us to look for the small wins, right? It's not always in these grandiose moments, man. It's in the small things. So I literally, it felt silly to me, Paul, but I was like, I'm going to celebrate the small wins. And so I can recall one time, taking him out and just trying to get him to do his work, right? This worksheet, this algebra worksheet, and he would not do it. And so one day, he just put his name on the paper, right? And I was like, and I made a huge big deal, right, about it, right? So she told us, you got to lose your cool card, right? So he put his name down, and I was like, yeah, you put your name down. Like, yes, let's go, man. Like, thank you for doing that. Like, dude, we're going to rock this out, man. I'm so excited you did that. And he was looking at me like, man, what is wrong with you, sir? And he just started laughing, and then I started laughing, right? And he's like, Mr. Singh, you so silly. And I was like, hey man, I'm trying, right? I believe in you. And we really had this that broke the ice. But that was like, Paul, that was day number 5, 6, right?
Wow.
Like, and so we finally broke it, man. And he opened up to me. He opened up to me and he said, man, usually Mr. Tim, adults by now would have given up. And you just won't give up. And he's like, I can't keep doing this to you, man. I'll do the work. Let's do it. He's like, but I don't know what I'm doing. I said, hey, bro, it's okay. I got you. Right. And from there, so what I look at, man, is the small wins. You got to start with the small wins. If it's a name on the paper, it's a name on the paper. If it's a conversation, if I see effort, and also if I know that, it's a small drop. It's a deposit every single day. If I can make that deposit, I know, right, at some point, somehow, some way, it'll have impact. And so I really, honestly, I look at what I do. Like, it's cool if we get that affirmation, we get that kind of receipt of, oh, thank you so much. Usually, sometimes that doesn't happen with every young person we work with. But if we can continue to make those deposits, like, that's it. So I look at my effort. Did I give it my today? Did I have that conversation?
Yeah. You're so humble, Tim. That sounds like a big win to me. If it was the 5th or 6th time and finally puts his name on the paper and, you make a big deal about it, but then he says to you, I don't know what I'm doing, which is where the resistance was coming from all along. And you just broke that barrier down. It wasn't that he was going to he just didn't want to be defiant. He just didn't want to look dumb, right? He just didn't want to admit that I just don't know how to do this stuff. To me, that sounds like a big success, Tim.
Yeah. Thank you.
In this work too, you learn a lot about yourself. I'm wondering, what have you learned about Tim as being a youth worker?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I've learned that I have resilience, and it's affirming, man. I didn't know that I was that resilient. I've learned that I care, that the level of care and positivity, right, that I have. And sometimes people always mention like my positivity, my passion. Like, oh man, Tim, you're so passionate, you're so positive, you got a lot of energy. And sometimes I just don't see that, right? I'm being me, and I'm an introvert, right? Like, so people will think that I'm just super extroverted, right? And I'm not at all. I'm shy, right? My stomach was turning for this interview. Like I have this nervous energy, and I think that what I've learned, man, about me is just that I don't allow those things to stop me. Right. I may not know what I'm doing, but I'm going to give it my all. And I think that, man, doing this youth service and this youth work, I really do think I got more in me than what I originally kind of thought to myself. And kids have a great way of giving you feedback.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes we don't want that feedback, but
it's pretty straightforward usually.
It's straightforward, Paul. It's straightforward. It's straightforward. You don't have to guess. They'll let you know. But I'll say that, man. Just my resilience through that.
Yeah, and you keep learning, and you keep growing, and you keep overcoming all these challenges. And I can tell you're just a person that's a lifelong learner, always trying to get better at what you do, always trying to run that better route each time, right? And youth work is trying to do that, build that better relationship or make that better connection faster or whatever that it is. Mm-hmm. So you challenge yourself in life. What is one of the big challenges you're taking on right now in terms of you as a person? What are you trying to get better at? What are you trying to work on?
Yeah, yeah. I'm honestly, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm trying to work on systems and organization, and efficiency of systems. Our program and what I do exists within the school system, right? And so I'm finding and trying to utilize the system. How do I leverage that? And that for me takes organization. And I I'm a guy that is it. I love to be out with people. I do not want to be behind a computer all day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of what I do is behind a computer, like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times all day. So just finding my pace, man, within it, and connect what I do to the bigger picture, right? And so sometimes that's what I'll say I'm tackling, right? Is connecting my work, what I'm doing, because it's not as direct, and I miss that. But then also my organization, just to be completely 100% honest with you, man. I am not as organized as I would like to be, but I'm making my way. I'm making my way.
If I was a betting person, I'd say a few years from now, you're probably going to be pretty organized.
Hey, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I better be. Shucks.
Hey, Tim, are your mom and dad still with us? Are they still around?
Yeah. My dad is in Syracuse. He's happily remarried, and my mom is in Columbus, or excuse me, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. So I hope you share this with them. I hope you share this podcast with them because I got to believe they must be super proud of you. You are such a giving person, so full of energy. Despite being an introvert, you don't come across that way. And you are really leaving a legacy. It's already being established and you're changing lives and you've already changed a lot of lives. And I got to believe, coming from those humble beginnings, your parents just must be beaming when they think about what you're trying to do with your life. They instilled all the right values in you.
Yeah, I hope so, man, and I definitely will. You know, I want them to be proud, and more so, I don't know, encourage everybody out there, man. Like, just because if you come from poverty, that doesn't mean that you have to stay in it. You know, it's
Mhm.
not a label. It's not something that you have to stay within or make decisions based on. You know, there's other decisions that you can make and other avenues to take, and so take them. You know what I mean? Take them, man. And it's not easy. You know, either way, it wasn't easy at all. But Paul, I hope that they are proud. They're proud, and I know that they are. But I really do. I'm going to share this with them, and more so, I'm excited to share this with my other family members, you know, and other folks, man, just in case, you know, if they're going through that's kind of a similar thing. I hope this is an encouragement and for everybody.
That's right. Yeah. Your story is one of hope and optimism. And anybody who listens to this is going to realize that we can overcome just about anything if we have the drive and determination and the support around us to keep us focused and encouraged and confident that we can do what we need to do. So if your mom and dad are listening right now, I'd like to say, hey, good job, you guys. You raised one heck of a son, and he's out there doing great things in this world. So, Tim, thanks for diving into youth work and giving back to your community and giving back to young people. I'm really grateful that you and I got to know each other, and I'm thankful for the work that you do. So thank you for being a guest on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Paul. And thank you for sharing your platform. And also for Yippa. Thank you so much for Yippa. It has helped us so much. Gosh, the trainings that you guys do are just so vital. It's so key. And I've learned a lot. Right, I was able to attach the proper language to my experience because of Yippa. So, you know, I was a survival-based youth. All of those, it was good. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your platform and helping us.
Thank you, Tim. Before we go, what words of wisdom or inspiration would you like to leave with the listeners?
Yeah, I would encourage everyone, man. You know, doing this for as long as I have, I've been in youth work, man, for over a decade. I would say sustainability, the thing to continue to keep going. It's important that you get fed get fed so that you can go feed. And that's a concept that I heard, up here and learned up here in Seattle from an local artist here in Seattle. But the concept, man, is just to get fed. You gotta get a place of nourishment, right? Physical, mental, spiritual, for yourself, where you get fed. But within this work, so much of it is just catering and supporting and servicing youth. And so that's a pour out, right? And so in order to continue to do that in a healthy way, where you don't avoid codependency or you can avoid codependency and such, man, and all those different concepts, I would say it's so important, y'all. If y'all hear me, man, just get fed so you can go feed, right? It's okay to take time, and you have to. So I did not do that properly. I thought that that was escapism. So I would, get on social media and scroll right after work and just try to escape from the day. And that may relieve, but that's not a pour in. I didn't get anything from that. So I would say be intentional, with that, man. Just get nutrients, right? One thing to eat, another thing to gain nutrients from what you eat. So get fed so you can go feed.